And we are back. The Ring Boys are back after a below average 296 card. First and foremost, gonna say apologies on our end. We had some technical difficulties figuring out audio issues, so we couldn't get a pre-show in. But the show must go on. We got a lot of content for you guys today. We have picks that we tweeted before, so I don't want to hear, integrity chants from the chat saying that we're just doing this and just saying whatever, because I got the betting receipts, I got the Google Sheets. Call me, and I'll show it all. Anyways, Artie, how you doing?
Doing all right. I wasn't too happy with this card.
Yeah, this wasn't the best of fights in the ring, but outside the ring, did you see that Sean Strickland DDP brawl?
Yeah, and I think as Data put it, I don't think that's good for the sport, honestly. He made a point, like, what if somebody does get hurt? You were about a month away from your title fight. There's no reason. Just save it for that. And I think DC said he was in charge of the seat assignments, or I don't know if he made that joke or whatever it was. Whoever put them 2 rows apart from each other, what are we doing?
Dana White.
What are we doing? Did they not see the presser and see the animosity that was there? What are we doing?
Dana White went on the presser after the fight and said, who's the idiot that schedules them to sit behind one another? And then he points to himself and says, I do all the manual seating. That's on me. I don't know what I was thinking. But overall, viral clip, as viral as we wanted to get, it's kind of a risk. Like you said, we're a month or in some change away from this fight, and we don't want that main event to be jeopardized. So, it was not only fun to see them go at it, but did you see Islam just dying laughing and Cheeto just putting his hands up like the Boston cop after we hit a home run?
Yeah. I think everybody was on the sideline just watching and having fun with it, but it's not good for the sport. I know even Volk tweeted after, like, it was, I don't know, not great.
No, not great at all. But hey, we'll get into that. We'll discuss it a little bit more. We obviously have a card to break down here, folks, so let's get right into it. Leon Rocky Edwards beats Colby Chaos Covington by unanimous decision. By the way, everyone's like crying that it was 49-46. I see it 49-46. Otherwise, I scored it wrong. I'll take the blame for that when I was live tweeting the event. It is what it is. But Colby just had an atypical start. Like, he was very slow coming out the gate. Like, you could see when they were doing the walkouts, Leon's coach like pointed to his head and was like, "Be smart, son. Don't let him get in your head, son." And that's what he did. He had great poise, great reaction, great striking accuracy, and at one point he took Colby down. He out-wrestled him and like showed that I'm going to beat you in every way, shape, or form. So he made Colby look like an idiot, and he got booed his whole post-fight speech. And Leon obviously took the high road, said, he's a good competitor, but a dirty human being after he called out Leon for his late father, saying that he was going to take him to hell with him. It is what it is. But yeah, crazy fight. Artie, what did you think of the main event we had?
Yeah, I think the 49-46 is accurate. I think people would give Colby that last round just because he did have some control time. He looked like he should have looked like from the beginning. But if you look at the stats, like, it seems close, but it was never really all that close at all.
Yeah.
Colby's legs were compromised to begin the fight. Like, Leon did absolutely everything he needed to do to win the fight, and as the challenger, Colby just came out flat. You can see like the takedown stats. Obviously, Leon taking it to Colby on the ground. He was just trying to prove a point that he is the best martial artist in the welterweight division. And I don't know if this is necessarily proof, because I called this out in our pre-show that didn't come out, but I don't think Colby was the deserving fighter to be in this matchup whatsoever. But we got to fight. It's finally good to see the 170 division kind of moving around a little bit. We needed this. I'm curious where this goes next. But I think overall, this might have been Colby's last shot at gold. I don't think that they're going to try to put him up again. It's just, it was hard to watch.
Wholeheartedly agree. I think even if he goes on a win streak, he should never fight for the title ever again. On last night, Colby's 650 days of being inactive got him a title shot, while Leon's 425-day spell of inactivity in 2021 got him removed from the UFC rankings. So some food for thought there. But yeah, I mean, Leon's showing he's dominant. Afterwards, he like you and I were talking behind the scenes, he was ducking Bilal in the press conference, and Bilal called it a disgrace to the division, stating he knows, he wants to make the welterweight division great again, and taking a shot at Colby and saying that he's next for the title fight. Artie, what are your thoughts on Bilal coming into the ring?
I fully agree. I don't think there's anybody more deserving. He's on a win streak. If you look at his resume, he beat people in the top 5, the top 10. He's done everything he needs to do to be in the next title fight. I think that fight will be a lot more entertaining. I know people like to hate on Leon, like to hate on Bilal because they don't finish fights. But, I mean, at some point, as a fan, you have to realize these people are coming in defending their gold. It's not for them to go take it. So people like Colby should be coming in there like a bat out of hell, like taking the fight to them. Because even if it goes to the cards and the fight was close, it's going to be the champion most likely. I don't think it's ever been not like that. But I think Bilal should be next up. I think there's some other interesting fights to make it at 170. But yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm hoping there's not another full year layoff for the 170 division at the top for the gold. Hoping 2024 brings us another champion maybe in the welterweight division, but we'll see. Like I said in our pre-show, I want these people to be active. I think the welterweight division deserves that. They're some of the best fighters in UFC. It's one of the more interesting divisions if you look at the guys who are coming up. It'd be good for the sport for them to keep it running, but we'll see. We'll see how it works out.
Yeah, and I agree with you and that Brendan Allen interview where he said you got to fight at least once a year to keep your ranking, keep your spot. Otherwise, it's just not good to shake up, and the permutations and combinations that we could have in fights is just being ruined. Lastly, Leon said, I don't feel like Bilal is next. He doesn't feel like he should be able to skip the line. Obviously, he just thinks Bilal is annoying and doesn't want to, have to engage with him. But I will say, after that interview, I saw Islam Makhachev was in the building because he was in Tagirul and Bekov's corner, Eagle MMA in the building. And he said that, that was a terrible fight. Get me Leon next, and let's see Islam go for the double belt. I think that's my dream 2024 fight. Do I think it happens? No. Should it happen? Yeah, that'd be awesome. Do I think Leon wins? No.
Yeah, I think Islam needs to defend at 155 first because there are people that have been waiting for their shot. I think we need to see that Gaethje Islam fight like he's been calling for, right, and then go to 170. I think would be the right thing to do just to give the people in your division a shot before you move up and go for the double belt. I wholeheartedly agree. If Islam moves up to 170, he would be probably even more dangerous to think about. Like, there is going to be less of a weight cut. He'll probably be ready to go a lot sooner than people would expect. And I don't think Leon defends that one. It would be interesting to see because I think Leon would be the most pure of strikers that Islam would face. But I don't think Leon has ever seen wrestling like Islam has. So it'd be a good fight to make for Dana. Maybe it'll be like a treat on the early 300 cards, or I don't know. Division could be exciting. We just need to see movement. That's all it is.
You don't think Arman Sarukian is in the mix for fighting Islam for the title yet after beating Dariush with that powerful knockout?
He could be, but I don't think he's the next in line.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely want to see Islam Gaethje, but I think Arman's definitely a sleeper, working up in the ranks now into 4 after beating Beneil Dariush.
I don't think he's a sleeper after that knockout. That's
when you comparatively put him with the top 3, like Dustin Poirier, Gaethje, Charles, like
I think they're the sleepers because they're not fighting.
I'm just saying his resume doesn't carry weight like they do yet. I mean, Arman's definitely deserving of being in the spot, but he hasn't proven himself to get it there, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Islam said he doesn't want any rematches. And I agree. I'm tired of seeing whatever number 2, 3 fight of the same people going at it again. I don't know.
Switch it up.
I want something new. Like, I'm hoping 2024, the pay-per-view cards will be new and exciting. So
yeah, I agree.
The only rematch I do want to see is Leon versus Bilal.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll definitely happen in 2024. Paddy teased in his press conference that he said in July he thinks there will be an England event. How cool would it be to have Paddy, Tom Aspinall, and Leon on that card?
Is Tom Aspinall going to fight?
I don't know. I'm just saying, England in the building. Those are the three most electric fighters in the entirety of the UFC from England, in my opinion.
I agree.
That would make an event.
I don't think Tom Aspinall is fighting until it is to actually fight for gold.
Yeah.
And he already mentioned that, but he did say he wants to be active. So I don't know. I don't even know if his fight will be in the UFC. He could be boxing next. I don't know. Tom Aspinall is interesting. He did make a few call outs. John Jones shut it down instantly. Whatever. Too much gatekeeping coming from some of the people, but we'll figure it out. Hopefully Dana makes something work.
Nonetheless, the first ringer from the Ring Boys starts from the main event. We were 1 for 1. And yeah, I posted the bet that we had on Twitter, and the boys start hot on this one. Moving on to the co-main event, Alexandre Pantoja versus Brandon Royval. I mean, look, Pantoja debuted when he was like 17 years old, and he's still learning as though when he started like fighting. Brandon Royval with a great nickname like Bra Dog. I mean, just didn't do enough and didn't come out with any sort of game plan. Pantoja had a fiery round 1 with a takedown. Royval had decent defense to start with his kicks, but honestly, it was a boring fight overall, but just goes to show how dominant Pantoja is and how deserving he was. I mean, that was the most control we've ever seen out of him on anyone in his entirety of his career. And he was hungry to defend that belt. And that's why he got the unanimous decision.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think the 50-45s were more accurate than the 49-46 that somebody gave Brandon Royval. But yeah, I mean, just pure dominance. I think he really showed that there are levels to the flyweight division. I'm curious where that goes next. If we get another Brandon Moreno rematch, I don't think I could watch that again. I'm tired of seeing Brandon Moreno. Nothing against him. Maybe there'd be somebody else up there, but I don't know. It'll be interesting. There's quite a few fights to make at 125, but I don't know. I'm sure Alejandro Pantoja will be the reigning champion for quite some time, especially after a poor performance like that. Yeah.
A lot of hate on Twitter for this division, calling this one a boring fight and just saying, let's get rid of the division entirely. And I think that's just out of pocket. Like, this division's fun. Flyweights go at it the most. Like, this is where we see the most action within a 3-round fight or a 5-round fight. And
yeah, I mean, look at the total strikes.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that in any other division.
No.
You might if there is just some sort of crazy matchup, but this is what the division is meant for, and it's fun to watch.
Especially in a title fight.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, the wrestling, 15 minutes of control time, but like I said, it just proves that there are levels to the top 5 that, and the champion. So yeah, I don't know. I disagree. Whatever fans made that up, get them out. They're not true fans of the sport. They're just there to see somebody get knocked out, which, I mean, obviously is a lot of fun, but we're here to watch the fights. It's no matter how it pans out, most of them, somebody will have something to prove. And that's how I felt about this one.
What do you think's next for the flyweight division? Obviously, Pantoja is going to take his vacation now, but I think Moreno versus Amir is probably the next fight as the title contender eliminator, and then whoever wins that is next in line.
Yeah, I'll be okay with that.
You think that happens early 2024 though? I feel like that's a fight we kind of Don't know when we'll see though.
Yeah, it could be like a co-main on some card because that's a good fight to make. And Brandon Moreno is somebody who always puts on a show. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Could be a big fight night, maybe another one where they do it. Could be in Mexico, something of that sort. There's definitely a lot to make there, and that would be, I think, a lot of fun for the UFC because I think the last, like something like UFC Noche, where there was a big, like, I don't know, that was a great card overall, and I think it's cool to show like love for some of the different heritages and the cultures in the UFC. So, I would be really cool to have something like that go down. Maybe even in Mexico City. They would show a lot of love.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head right there. I think they're saying that they're going to do it for Mexican Independence Day next year at the Sphere. I think that would be a sick co-main to book for Amir and Moreno. But yeah, overall, you already know, another absolute ringer for the Ring Boys, 2 for 2 going from the main event to the co-main event. Moving along to the third leg of the card. I mean, my guy, my absolute favorite fighter right now, Shavkat Nomad Rakhmonov, on Kazaki Independence Day, goes and just absolutely beats all allegations that he can't finish anyone. He's just he's a mid fighter. 18-0, 18 fights, 18 finishes. Get him a title shot. That's all I want to hear. Chael was saying before like the prelims even started, he was like, 5-1's a disrespectful line. Like, put some respect on Stephen Thompson's fight. And I'm like, yeah, he's not going to even be able to crack at him. It was funny that Jack Black and Tenacious D walked into the building alongside Wonder Boy. Once I saw that, I was like, yeah, we're going to win. I want the UFC to do that more often. But anyways, Shavkat becomes the first ever guy to submit Wonder Boy. Does it for his country. I mean, dude, everyone in Kazakhstan loves this guy, not only for how great he is of a fighter, but what he stands for the country. But exactly. He beat the I can't finish anyone allegations. He's on his way to a title fight. We could talk about the permutations on who he's going to fight and just go on forever, but we'll let Dana and team do their job.
Yeah. Just a decisive win. I think, obviously, you could hit it now, but this was a ringer. We all picked him. We knew what was happening. Yeah, Shavkat is dominant. We need to see him fight a contender and then have his next shot be at the title. I think we saw some things happening at the post press where people asked Colby if Shavkat is the next fight because that would kind of, obviously that would move Shavkat up, but Colby always started talking trash to Stephen Thompson right away.
Yeah.
And in true to Colby Covington fashion, he's got to fight somebody who's 40 years old out of their prime to maybe get another win under his belt. And Dana will give him another title shot in 3 years when he's close to 40. It's disgusting. Colby highlights from 2017, Covington doing his best work trying to sell himself. But I think Shavkat, if he gets that shot and wins, he would be the next title holder.
Not only does Colby not apologize for the father comment, calls out Stephen Thompson and says that he doesn't want to fight Shavkat because that doesn't make sense. Because I'm going to invent a new nickname for Shavkat right now. Call him Shotcut. He deserves a title fight. I'm going to say it every time his name pops up on this podcast.
I don't think so. There's another contender fight before he does that.
Yeah,
I think Bilal is next in line. After Bilal, you can do whatever you want in the 170 division as long as it keeps it moving.
Bilal's at 2 right now with Kamaru at 1, Shavkat at 5, Gilbert Burns at 4, Colby at 3. And you and I talked before we started the show, and I like your take on it. If you want to take it, you said Colby should just be dropped from the rankings.
He's not good. We saw it. He's not good. It was just proof of the pudding that he does not belong in the ring with people like Leon Edwards. He was not even close to being on the same level. And I don't get what the UFC is trying to do with Grisby. I don't know. They kept saying cardio, the crazy pace. We didn't see any of it. And for Colby to come out and say, "Oh, it was the ring rust," that's not on anybody besides him, because there were people at 170 calling him out. He could have had a fight before this, and I don't know. I think Shavkat should get another shot. Maybe it'd be the fight to make with Kamaru Usman at 170. See Kamaru back in the division again. And then next fight would be for the title. I think that would be a good road for Shavkat. It'd be great proof because, obviously decisive win, but Stephen Thompson is 40 years old, out of his prime. Like, nobody saw this going any other way. I think we need something that really cements Shavkat in the division. Yeah, that's my take.
And this is a great segue into the next fight as we move along here. But you hit the nail on the head once again. If you just focus on your stamina, thinking that you're a better fighter, it's not going to go well. Look at Colby doing elevation training. Look at Royval doing elevation training. If you don't work on the mitts and on the ground and just in the lungs, it's not going to go well for you, ever. And that's why Tony Ferguson versus Paddy Pimblett. Tony Ferguson was training with David Goggins and was just being pushed to the limit because he's tired of losing. And Paddy said, "Who's going to carry the butts now, you sausage?" Like it just didn't go well. But anyways, Tony Ferguson pushing 40. Paddy Pimblett obviously having a family on the way. I'm impressed that Tony didn't get finished. This one went the distance. Paddy came out swinging. But in the end, Tony just didn't dig deep enough. Paddy shows he's legit and he's back and ready for fatherhood after he had, that surgery. And then while that fight's going on, or before that fight's going on, Sean Strickland just gets kicked out after he motions for people in the row next to him to move over and just jumps over him and just starts throwing hammer fists on the back of DDP's head.
And I don't know if you saw who the people who he motioned to be out of there was Gilbert's wife and his kid.
Who?
So Gilbert Burns, that was his kid and his wife. He told him to get out of the way, which honestly, big ups to Sean Strickland for not just going full primal animal mode and just jumping over, but not great for the sport. But yeah, I don't know. Before we had the technical issues on our pre-show that we recorded, I did say that Tony's chin probably wouldn't hold up in this fight. I did pick him for my lock of the card just for fun. I love Tony. Everybody loves Tony. Everybody saw it in the crowd. I'm gonna have to disagree with you though. I think Tony did dig deep, but his deep is not on the same level that anybody else is in the division anymore. He's old. You saw him. He looked labored just moving out there. I don't know. Obviously, I think the super heavy endurance training maybe helped with the chin and kind of gave him the mental health, and the mental stamina to kind of draw the fight out. I was impressed that it even went to a decision. But good showing from Paddy. He held it down, got some control time, hit his shots. It was a good fight. It was kind of exciting to watch in the moments, even on the ground when Paddy was controlling Tony and Tony was throwing elbows to the top of his head. We saw blood going all over the place. It was a decent fight. It was fun to watch. I think Tony should just be done. It's like putting your grandpa out against professional football players and having him carry the ball at the 1 yard line. It's not fun to watch. You know exactly what's going to happen.
Great offensive line. We'll be fine, no?
It's not fun to watch. I love Tony. I think it's time to go. He's on a 7-fight losing streak. I think it's done for. He obviously sells the fights because there's a lot of people who still love him, but I don't know. He's done for. I'm excited for Paddy. Maybe he'll get somebody in the top 15 next. It'd be good to see him start trying at the rankings because I feel like everything we've gotten from him has been kind of flat, even with the Josh Gordon fight.
Jared Gordon.
But yeah, we'll see. And obviously that one was a close one too. But as the announcers mentioned, it's just because Gordon's that good. So we'll see. Maybe get him in the top 15. Get him fighting somebody good. You mentioned that Paddy was talking of a card in June or July to be in England. Get him to fight somebody in the top 15. Why not? People in England will love it.
Yeah, and Patty said in the post press conference, or actually in the ring, that this guy's a legend. He took the high road, which is rare with Patty's personality. You thought he was gonna do a Fortnite dance over his dead body, as he was saying, but I'm glad he took the high road. He knows that, hey, this is a business. Tony's a legend. Tony just walked out of the ring with David Goggins and didn't even shake his hand, or he shook his hand, but he just looks like he should retire. And then in the post press conference, Patty obviously said that, look, no one tells that guy when to retire, but that guy, like, he's only going to retire on his own terms. And then he walks off stage and Dana comes, yeah, I'd like to see him retire. So we'll see what's next for El Kakoi. I think he's done. I'd love to see maybe one more fight if it makes sense out of him, but
no, it doesn't make any sense. There's nobody. He's out of the rankings. It's not like you're actually getting somebody up there to like get into the top 15 or anything.
Look,
but I agree. I was surprised that Patty actually gave him the praise.
Yeah.
I think Patty is very self-aware in what's going on. He knew what he did wrong in the Gordon press conference, like the post-fight interview right away, saying it wasn't even close. He realized what he did wrong. He did say that the haters will come quick when you do things like that. So he's smart. He's doing the right thing for his brand. Patty's an exciting fighter. Everybody, like, the arena always goes crazy every time he walks in. So I don't know. We gotta keep him pushing the rankings so that we can get some of these exciting fights to be with contenders. So yeah, Tony, please retire. I'm tired of seeing you get beat up. Please.
Patty the Batty, best walkout song in the entirety of the UFC, in my and Doc's opinion. All right, now that we got that out of the way, can we talk about the absolute wonderful call on my end of Josh Emmett smoking Bryce Mitchell? Obviously, it was on the pre-show that was recorded that, is the forever lost episode, we'll refer to it as. I said, look, Josh Emmett has too much power for a round or two to throw at Bryce before Bryce can not gas himself out or Josh gasses himself out, whatever. Josh Emmett lays a nuclear missile on the top of Bryce's forehead and just drops him in a minute and 57 seconds. I called it. I'm not going to rub it in. This was the first leg of my main card bet. Turned $40 in 380. Felt great. I'm obviously biased. This card overall was a little bit of a snooze fest, but I sat back with the popcorn. The popcorn was free, and I did not expect that he was going to just smoke him like that. Bryce Mitchell was he's always known for walking out with the Bible and lifting the Bible in the ring, and he's been begging the UFC, like, boys, just let me wear camo shorts. And on his camo short debut, it starts with a curse and gets knocked out.
Yeah, I don't think it was his camo short debut. He's had it before.
They were commenting saying that he's been begging for camo shorts, and this is the first time that they let him wear it. Probably on a pay-per-view event, meaning.
Yeah, maybe at the pay-per-view, but he's definitely worn them before. Nonetheless, Josh Emmett, just the, like, I don't know, knockout of the year, maybe even? It was crazy. Like, I didn't see the fight going this way at all, and I think the reason why it did go this way was Bryce Mitchell, as soon as he went in there, obviously 2 weeks notice, didn't really know what to prepare for. Obviously, Josh Emmett's a great striker, but you have to be cautious, and he was cautious, and that kind of caught up to him real quick when he was trying to get in close, and Josh Emmett just right hand power. It just one shot knockout. Fight was quick. It was a little bit scary, actually. I really do hope Bryce Mitchell is okay. But it just shows that Josh Emmett, like, given the age, he's still a contender in the featherweight division. I don't know where to go from here with him, but there's definitely some others that, he could be fighting in the top 5 again. And yeah, it'll be good. They're both exciting fighters. And just, round 1 knockout. It is what it is. It would have been great to see a whole fight out of them too, because just to see the range of Bryce Mitchell on the 2-week notice, but Josh Emmett didn't let it happen. Didn't let it go to decision. Just took care of it himself. So, great.
In the great words of Leon Edwards, headshot dead. Yeah, Bryce was fine. He's Dana said in the press conference, and he posted on Instagram, said that he was released after the hospital after passing all tests. They stood him up in the ring, and he was wobbling. I'm like, do we just not have chairs in Vegas anymore? Like,
Yeah. Yeah,
let
the
my
announcers
guy
were saying the
sit.
same thing.
Yeah, let
Yeah,
my
the
guy
announcers were saying the
sit.
same thing. It's scary because you don't have your legs under you. You could potentially tear something or hurt yourself doing that.
Yeah.
Um, they know better. It is what it is. I think part of it might have been Bryce being Bryce and saying that he doesn't need any help. He wanted to walk around and whatever, but they got him out of the ring. Josh Emmett, he's obviously wasn't super humble about it. He knew what he did. It was great. It was a great show, and that's the kind of fights we're here for. So,
Josh Emmett at 6 on the rankings. Bryce Mitchell just cracking number 10. Where do we go from here in the division? Obviously, we'll have to wait to see the overall rankings. I don't think Josh Emmett will ever get a title fight ever again or climb the rankings. I think there's way too many hard hitters and talent that will stop him on the way up, like a Taporia or Arnold Allen or Brian Ortega. And I think Bryce Mitchell is what?
oh, who did you just mention? Brian. Okay, look up the last time Brian Ortega fought. He is in the same boat as Colby Covington. This dude should not be in the top 5. He hasn't fought in more than 2 years. You can't say, "Oh, we can't have this dude." Maybe that's the next fight to make. Maybe we need Josh Emmett to fight Brian Ortega, get Brian Ortega back in the ring.
I'd be down for that, but I'm just saying, like, even if he gets Brian Ortega off the cards, then he has to go through either Arnold Allen, Yair Rodriguez, Max Holloway. He's not gonna be able to outmuscle or do what he did to Bryce to any one of them, in my opinion. Maybe we'll see. Yeah. I'll come on the show and say I'm wrong if he's ever done it. He made me money. I got to rock out with my guy.
Yeah, no, I don't. Never call out Brian Ortega. Terrible call. Bad.
I'm sorry. But yeah, that was the main card. Overall, just run through the picks as we move on to the prelims. I was 5 for 5. I won $400. My night was awesome. Artie, you were 3 for 5, missing Tony Ferguson and Bryce Mitchell. And Doc was 4 for 5, obviously missing Bryce Mitchell. Yeah, I mean, it was an electric card. Overall, from the point of, there were knockouts and finishes, but as we move into the prelims, there was more action. Alonzo Menafield, Dustin Jacoby. I'll come on the show and say right now, Artie, you and I were wrong. Doc did his homework. But I will say, he was getting clobbered the first 2 rounds. And then for whatever reason, he decided to wake up and actually get a shot in and start throwing knees. And he was able to get the decision over Jacoby. Alonzo had that big round 3 comeback. But, they need to get my guy a main event now. Doc was right on the pre-show that the Lost Forever episode. He said that Alonzo Menafield's a sleeper. He called this one. And main event Menafield in the building? Question mark?
Could be. Alonzo, this was a great way to end the prelims. The fight was close. Alonzo Menafield just full glass cannon. Defense was not there. He was getting pieced up for majority of it. Like you said, 3rd round, he kind of woke up. He hit Dustin Jacoby with a couple of shots, got him wobbled. Dustin went into like a clinch, and then his corner was calling for him to let it go. I don't know what they were thinking because Dustin still didn't have his feet under him. He was wobbled getting out of that clinch, and just Alonzo, finished the fight as he should have. But yeah, it was a good one to end the prelims on. It was exciting. Yeah, we were both wrong. Alonzo obviously had enough to prove, but he'll be like number 13 maybe next. I don't know where this puts him in the rankings, but I don't know that he would do much better against the higher ranked like heavyweights with the defense that he had. Can't take anything away from Dustin Jacoby either. He's a great striker, great martial artist. But it was a good fight. This was maybe my, on the whole card, the second most exciting fight we watched. So, yeah.
Yeah, and this was indeed your fight of the night. And then I forgot to mention my performance of the night was Josh Emmett with the nuclear missile that he dropped on Bryce Mitchell's forehead. 14 for Alonzo Menfield in the rankings, 15 for Dustin Jacoby. Dustin Jacoby going to be unranked now? Question mark. I don't think so. I think he should still stay on. I think Menifield's only going to move up a spot, 2, 3. We'll have to wait and see. But hopefully we'll see main event Menifield come in 2024 and make some noise.
Yeah, and not for nothing, at 36, his chin looks great. Like, so he definitely could be up there. It would be an exciting fight to watch him go against somebody in the top 10. Like you said, could be a main card, like a fight night, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Next
All right.
one.
Moving along. We're just going to announce this as my fight of the night and the UFC's fight of the night and a ringer for the Ring Boys.
Yep.
Irene Aldana absolutely was getting outclassed in the first round. I think she's been like 6 months removed from her title shot, but she was just taking leg kicks on leg kicks on leg kicks and just not checking any of them. It's like, hey, this is going to build up and hurt you in the end if we don't start, doing something about it. And I was stressed out for our bet. And I was like, it is what it is. She's probably going to lose. And then she sat up in her gaming chair, took care of business, stood on business, and ended up coming back and just, they went at it. Like there was a picture of both of them in the hospital after the fight, and they were just like clowning and putting their thumbs up. And I'm like, that's great. That's potential fight of the year candidate. Like they went at it. Like it was so good to watch.
Yeah, definitely. At least in the women's division, this is exciting as it gets. It was fun to watch. As you said, first round, Irene was taking a lot of shots to the legs, not checking any of them. She did say after the fight, in the post-fight, that she was dealing with a knee injury that's been going on for about a year. I think it was after probably the Amanda fight. That didn't help the cause at all. To your point, that picture where they were kind of smiling in the hospital, you can see she's wearing a huge knee brace on her right leg, her lead leg. But it's still, to me, I was watching that and I was just absolutely just shocked. With your legs basically taken out from the beginning of the fight, she still had so much power. She messed up Carol Rosa. It was, I don't know. It was a great fight. This is as good as it gets on the prelims. And Irene Aldana, her last fight was for the title. So maybe another title shot come in. Maybe it could be like we were talking about, maybe the Mexican Independence card. We'll see what her knee is like. But that'll be a good one to make. She's a great fighter, great striker. Obviously showed some weakness with the not being able to check any kicks at all.
That was bad.
And I texted Alex right after the fight too, because we were talking about this one. But Diego, right? He's in her corner, so I'm surprised she didn't do any sort of grappling or jiu-jitsu just to kind of neutralize the leg kicks and kind of get the spacing down a little bit more. But we'll see. She definitely has range. She's got great coaches, obviously. So we'll see. Could be another title shot for her. It's a great fight. I think after Dana watches this one, he'll know for sure that this would be a good one to put on a main card, main event sort of deal, and because she brings the noise.
Yeah, I want to see her on the Sphere UFC Noche if they actually do make that event happen. And how did you notice the brace when their faces were just so swollen up? I couldn't even see their eyes. Lastly, I'll say for this, Irene is at 5, and we'll see if she'll get another title shot. I was very impressed. That was a great fight. I hope she has a speedy recovery. Was it the leg, the knee? Was the knee the leg kick? Was it the right one that was getting absolutely dotted?
It was her left leg, her lead leg.
Left leg. Oh, that's interesting. So we'll have to see how she recovers. Hopefully she takes her time. That Sphere card's not going to be till the second half of next year. So we'll see. Irene Aldana on notice. And Diego Lopez, got love for my boy. We love Diego Lopez on the Ring Boys here.
This is the Diego Lopez Stand podcast.
Exactly. We should just rename this to the Diego Lopez podcast.
He's great, and obviously, even when he's in the coach's corner, they're getting things done. He's good. So yeah, Irene, great fight, great win. on to the next one, right?
Yes, sir. We got Cody No Love Garbrandt just knocking Brian Kelleher out on the Lost Forever episode. I was the only one called that I said, hey, look, all I'll say is I'm not going to take full credit because I didn't think he was going to knock it out. I thought it was going to be a boring fight. Cody was going to do enough and win this by decision, is what I said on the Lost Forever episode. But No Love, like first round KO, he had good counter to the leg kicks, but the hand speed, like you got to witness him like win, call out Figueredo and say, hey, you've been ducking me. This fight's got to happen. Now he's back in the mix. Like everyone's been clowning on him. Like the tattoo killer, as I like to call him, is back. How long will he be back? I don't think for long, but I like seeing Cody fight because that hand speed, man, it's legit. It's scary. I wouldn't want to catch a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 from him.
Yeah, it'll definitely look like he was fighting again with confidence. That's a big deal for him. Given the amount of time it kind of took to get here, whatever fight he has next, if it's somebody, in the top 15, whatever, I don't know how that would end up. Great knockout. I just don't know if he stands up with the other contenders. And the bantamweight division is like probably some of the best fighters in the UFC at the moment are all in that division. So we'll see. It'll be interesting. Cody, obviously, big knockout, round 1. None of us saw it coming at all. We were all calling for this one to be boring, go to distance type of deal. So, yeah, it's a great fight.
I could see Cody fighting like a Chris Gutierrez now that Chris Gutierrez is coming off a loss against Song Yadong and needing something to get in the mix, and Cody just got the win. I think that's a good potential sneaky fight. But again, I don't work for the UFC and their website sucks. Again, UFC, fix your website. That was a good call by me. This is the second call that I've had that I was the only one that got, apart from Doc's Alonzo Menafield. And then, as much as I don't want to talk about this next fight, we kind of have to. Casey O'Neill. An epic fail from the Ring Boys. We all had Casey O'Neill winning this one, but she just got dotted, she got dropped, and she just got submitted. That arm bar looked real bad. I don't know how she took it for as long as she did. She should have tapped a lot earlier. But, like, again, listening to the MMA Hour, hearing my boy GC, like, he says, every time I bet against Casey O'Neill, I lose. And she goes on Twitter and puts the whole world on notice and says, never bet against me ever again. And now I'm going to bet against her every single time. He broke the Ring Boys ringer parlay and broke my heart. It was so hard to watch. Like, I was like, we were doing the picks because normally whenever we do a bet together as a collective, just to have it on record, we do all the ringers picks for those of you at home. And Casey O'Neill was the second one after Tagir won. And we were just like, huh? Like, I get she has a new striking coach, the one that was training with like Jose Aldo, but the Queen of Violence, Slipsky, I'm sorry. Like, if you submitted her, I will never put disrespect on her name, and just made us all look like nincompoops, to say the least.
Yeah, definitely the Queen of Violence. This was a great fight. Definitely carried it out. Obviously, if you guys watched the ceremonial weigh-ins, a lot of animosity between the two. I don't know what the beef was to begin with, but Ariane stood up business, as I like to say, came out there, showed Casey O'Neill what's up. I don't know. It's decent. Not as good as Ariane Aldana, but yeah.
Yeah. I hate her. I hate her so much now.
Okay. Next one.
Yeah. Moving on to the shorthanded early prelims now. Eagle MMA in the building. Tagir Lewinbeckhoff in the building. Islam Makhachev in the corner. And an absolute ringer for the Ring Boys. Look, anytime you bring a Dagestani fighter into the mix, I'm always going to bet on him. I don't care if he's the underdog. I don't care if he's like a plus 10,000 underdog. I'm going to bet on the Dagestani guy. Like, that camp does crazy things. Again, we won't talk about what's in the vitamins. We won't bring up cheating allegations. Khabib is the GOAT. But Tagir, dominant display, great control. Kind of played with his dinner a little bit. I thought it was going to be a little bit shorter of a fight. Islam obviously coming out. He did train with Khabib's late father in Sambo. And Durden survived round 1. He slipped that choke, but then he got choked in round 2. So, it was foreshadowing a bit. I think Tagir's a really good fighter, but he should have submitted him in round 1. And if you play with your dinner like that as you climb the ranks, it's going to show, and it's going to turn around and hurt you and potentially bite you in the ass.
Yeah, especially if you're unranked in a division like the flyweight division where there's a lot of dudes kind of ready to go, a lot of people in the top 10, top 15 who are like true contenders. You got to win decisively, and you really have to put on a show, but you can't bet against the Dagestani boys. He came out pure dominance. Good fight for him overall. Yeah, Eagle MMA. We're still here.
In the building. In the
building. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to worry about what's next for Tagir. Obviously, flyweight's like a pretty tough thing to predict. Tagir's 12th, and after beating number 15, Cody Durden, I think he'll move up 1, potentially 2 spots. But I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the fight we all want to see from the Ring Boys is him and Muhammad Makayev. I think that would be pretty good. Think about it. Think about it.
I'll think about it. I'll bring it up on the next one. How about that?
Yeah. But yeah, Tagir Ulanbekov gets the wing. That was the first ringer from the Ring Boys. On our ringer picks, we were 5 for 6. Casey O'Neill, I will never forget you. And I'll never forgive you. Honestly. So that's just the way she goes. Andre Filet. Touchy Philly versus Lucas Almeida. In the great words of Leon Rocky Edwards, headshot dead. I picked Andre Philly to win. I was the only one out of the 3 of us to win. As he was walking into the ring, I think I was the only one who watched this fight the whole distance, but his coach just slapped him in the face. And they just like act like it was a casual thing. Like I get like hyping someone up, like tapping him, but he just like with everything in his might slapped him in the face. And I was like, oh yeah, we win in this one. He had emergency eye surgery in the beginning of the year. They were talking about. They said that he went in for eye drops, but he had such bad vision that they were like, yeah, something's wrong here. We're gonna have to, take immediate emergency surgery. Everything was corrected, and he looked absolutely fine. He had the vision to find the punch and find the range to just completely knock out Lucas's jaw. Then he comes on and says that, one of his close friends or his brother, I forget which one it was, passed away. His dog passed away all this year. He got emergency eye surgery, and he finishes with the cherry on top and shows that, motivation and discipline, it works.
Yeah. Tough year for the guy. I was scrolling through Twitter after this one, and I saw everybody just saying it's always a great year whenever we see Andre Philly, just finishing a fight, getting a knockout. Yeah, he obviously showed he's the way better striker. So I don't know. Good for him. Good way to end the year.
Great hand speed, just like Cody Garbrandt, and the tattoos.
Yeah,
he's like a little Cody Garbrandt. But yeah, Andre Touchy Feely getting that win. I called that one, and then the opening fight of the whole card. Shamil Gaziev versus Martin Boudet. I told you again, you never bet against the Dagestanis. And I was, again, the only one that picked Shamil to win. Martin Boudet, absolute shin on the guy. I'm surprised it wasn't done in the first round. Shamil looked absolutely gassed. But Gaziev ultimately comes out firing, cuts him early. They were like, hold on, let's check the cut. So he kind of got a little bit of stamina back. But something to note, fun fact, Gaziev trains with Muhammad Makayev in Islam, was in the building. So Islam was like, I'm here for my Dagestanis. Let's go. But round 2, good heart and toughness for Martin, but that ribcage shot, just in the great words of Leon Edwards, I shot dead. I mean, it was a knockout.
Yeah, definitely a decisive win for Shamil. You can see he's just a better striker. like full dominance the whole fight. So yeah, good for the
Yes.
boys.
Yes, it was. All right. Run through the prediction accuracies once again. Doc, 7 for 12. His fight of the night was Pantoja. He wanted us to note that Pantoja's dominance. It was also his lock of the card. Good pick from him. Terrible pick from Doc across the boards on not perfecting and not calling one full prelim, early prelim, or main card. So that was tough to see. I myself was 10 for 12 with my lock of the card. Shot caught Rachmanov, I'm going to call him from now on. 10 for 12. My fight of the night, obviously, Irene Aldana versus Carl. I think they were calling her Hossa. So I don't know if that's the direct pronunciation. Whatever. I'm not a linguistic teacher.
I'm not too much.
Yeah, I'm not in speech pathology. Like, I'm just a normal human being. My performance of the night, the nuclear missile from Josh Emmett. And yeah, I got the main card. I made some money. I got the whole early prelim. I missed Casey O'Neill and Dustin Jacoby. Casey O'Neill, I'll never forget you. Dustin Jacoby, whatever, bro. I always miss one. And Artie, 5 for 12. Wanted to ride with his guy, Tony Ferguson. Who's going to carry the boat now? Your fight of the night was Jacoby, and your performance was Pantoja. Do you anything you want to comment on those two?
Like I think I said when we were kind of scrolling through this and talking about it, the Dustin Jacoby Alonzo Benefield fight was by far, I think, the second most exciting because Irene Aldana versus however you pronounce it, Rocha, whatever you said.
Osa.
Okay. It was definitely the second most exciting fight on the card. It was fun to watch. It was just, great to tune in, see two guys actually going at it. Definitely back and forth. Nice comeback from Alonzo Benefield. Alejandro Pantoja, just like I said, it was a decisive win. He showed that there are levels to the division he's in. Yeah.
That it was. Let's give a little golf clap to the UFC for a good year on 2023 as we gear up for 2024. Overall, this card, when you comparatively look at the other pay-per-views, not the best.
Not even close to the best, in my opinion.
I'm gonna sugarcoat it if you want to rip into it.
I'm zooming out a little bit because I have a full list pulled up here. But out of all the pay-per-views of the year,
before we bring those up, the last thing I want to mention on the last presser, Dana had some huge news and confirmed for $299 in Miami. They signed Michael Venom Page, who's going to fight Kevin Holland. Song Yadong is going to fight Peter Yan. Gilbert Burns is going to fight Jack Della Maddalena. And Ian Gary, who was sick with pneumonia and all the drama, now has to fight Jeff Neal, all on March 9th. Out of those four, what are you looking forward to, Artie?
The Piotr Yan versus Song Yadong fight.
Same.
I think we probably, if we talk about it, we all will say that. I think the sneaky one out of this list is the Jack Maddalena versus Gilbert Burns fight. That one has a lot of contention for the top of the 170 division. We've seen JDM fight this year multiple times. I think he might have been one of the few most active fighters in the UFC. He's exciting. He's young. It'll be good for the 170 division. And obviously we get somebody like Gilbert Burns fighting against him, who is he's a veteran coming off the, obviously an injury. We saw him fighting with Bilal. He couldn't even put his arm up, but that will be a really good fight. Sneaky good fight. Piotr Yan versus Song Yadong I think it has potential for fight of the year type of numbers. They're both great strikers. I think Song Yadong is the future of the UFC. We saw it in the fight night not too long ago, a week ago, right?
Yeah.
He is just all-around complete fighter. He showed it. He came out and absolutely dominated. Was it Chris Gutierrez, right?
Yep, Chris Gutierrez.
Yeah, I don't know. These are great call-outs. Ian Machado Gary, I wish he'd still fight Vicente Luque, but we get him with Jeff Neal. I don't know. We get to see MVP finally in the UFC. Everybody's been calling for that for a while, and who better than Kevin Holland, one of the most active fighters in the UFC, always ready to go. That'll be a good one. I'm excited to see what happens with the presser. Kevin Holland always talking trash. It'll be good. It'll be a good welcome for MVP as well. Somebody who actually sells the fights, so it'll be good. These are good call-outs for 299. So we all have something to look forward to. Yeah, this will be good.
Before I bring up the upcoming events, you want to talk about the year in review real quick? Is that what you're going to bring up? You're going to mention.
I wasn't going to bring it up. I just was mentioning 296. I don't know. We could have had so much better to end the year, and such an exciting year for the UFC. We saw so many champions go down, new champions raised in the UFC. Yeah, I mean, we saw 2 Alex Pereira fights. I mean, no, we saw 3 or 4.
3.
Yeah, whatever. All of them were exciting. I'm here for all of those. I don't know. It was a great year for the UFC. I wish 296 was a little bit better. I don't know how you can sell Colby Covington anymore, which is a good thing. We can celebrate maybe never again another main event from him. 299 looking good. Great call from Dana. I think he was kind of trying to get something going after the fight night, or the UFC 296 was kind of a little bit of a stinker, and he needed to get somebody some news. So it's great to hear all of this. What are your thoughts?
I will say an underrated upcoming card is the Ankalaev Walker. That's unfinished business for the Ring Boys from the Dagestani Gucci Flip Flop Parlay, as it was scratched, but we need that to hit just to show that we know what we're talking about. But yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think, look, year in review, my favorite card, just because of one fight, was Islam versus Folk in February. I loved that one. Obviously, you got Pereira out of Sanya too. The list goes on and on. This was a pretty solid year. I wish Jiri, did something a month ago when we had our first episode and didn't, lose in the fashion way he did. But I will we'll talk about the upcoming cards real quick, and then we can end this episode. 297, obviously being January 20th. Strickland versus DDP. Or as Twitter loves to call him, Doofus, for whatever reason. I think that's going to be a solid card now that Strickland tried to murder him in the 3rd row of the T-Mobile Arena.
Yes.
We got 298. We got Volk coming back and defending his title against Ilya Taporia Saturday, February 17th. And then obviously 299 scheduled as O'Malley versus Chito Vera Saturday, March 9th. At the Kaseya Center in Miami, and 298 will be at Anaheim in California. And UFC 300 now famously announced, the 30-year anniversary card will be April 13th. Obviously, Dana commented on it and said that he wants you, when it's to be announced, to look at it and say, "Really, this is the early prelim? Oh boy, this is going to be a good one." Hopefully he lives up to the hype. He's been killing it with the rescheduling. His team is always doing well in the high rank fights and the low rank fights. Maybe we need to hire someone from the Ring Boys to help him out. But that being said, formal announcement to make. The Ring Boys are going to be doing live streams for fight nights, cards. It's going to be random depending on schedule. And I think we're going to try to push content for all fight nights now in 2024. Hey, yo, how we doing? But we'll see. Hopefully no more technical issues. Hopefully everything's good. 2023, a great year. 2024 is only going to be better. And I will crap Artie with one question and say, for 2024, if you could have a realistic fight that you want to see and a dream fight, what would those be and what would those look like?
I'm going to say the same thing I said when we recorded.
That's fine. Now it'll be uncovered.
The Ghost episode, the one we will forever mention. Islam versus Leon Edwards. It'd be great to have another double champ, and I think Islam wants that badly. we do need to see him defend it at 155 first before he does go to that route. And then my like dream fight, and I think you guys are kind of caught off guard a little bit because it doesn't have to do with the UFC. I said the PFL needs to make the Deontay Wilder Francis Ngannou fight because Deontay Wilder has been talking it up. Francis Ngannou has the ability to make it happen, and we know that everybody will be paid out, but that'll be a lot of fun to watch. We finally will see somebody from the boxing realm come over to the the MMA side of things, and I personally don't think that one will be very close anyway. But still, how cool would that be? Especially after we got that performance out of Francis Ngannou versus Tyson Fury. So yeah, I shoot the same question back to you, sir. What do you got?
And I will say you stole my response, but it's fine. I'm just kidding. I agree. I want to see Islam Rocky. I think that would be a very underrated thing. Everyone, if it did get scheduled, the true MMA fans would be like, "What? Let's go!" And everyone would be like, "Huh? Why are we doing this?" I think that is definitely the fight I want to see. Islam's definitely gonna have to defend his belt, like you mentioned, at 155 against either Gaethje or Arman Sarukian. Don't sleep. But Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, I think was scheduled for March 9th. So we might have to wait on that Ngannou dream. I agree. I think Ngannou, after his crazy near upset over Tyson Fury, dropped him in round 2 or 3, whichever it was. I think Francis has proved that, hey, he's a force to be reckoned with. He came from the mines of Cameroon and is here to fight, and he's legit. He doesn't care about the money. He does it for the sport, and he loves it, and that's what we're all about. But the realistic one I want to see, and I think we will see, hopefully, as long as, we don't have no weird USADA or substitute replacement and Conor keeps his act together. Michael Chandler, Conor McGregor. I think that definitely has to happen. After Conor's horrible coaching on The Ultimate Fighter, Michael Chandler seems to be the favorite. Conor, can he come back and do one more thing? Or is he going to just, show up in Russia randomly and yell things at Islam Peter Yan for no reason?
Yeah, I think actually we saw picks, right? Because that was the one I called out before.
Yeah.
And that's another thing you just mentioned with the USADA changes. I'm hoping that, obviously there is a chance for them to introduce things to the fighters that will help them recover much quicker. So I'm hoping that, we get to the point where there are no excuses for people to fight at least 2-3 times a year, because they will have the, resources available for them to do that. And overall, just a good thing in general for the UFC. A lot of the guys, obviously, I don't know if anyone has had surgery or has had major injuries. You do need some sort of steroid to help you out and kind of recover much quicker. And we see it in a lot of other sports. Obviously, people kind of go through the ringer and then they do take things that help them out. But yeah, 2024 has so much potential, especially I'm sharing my screen right now for the UFC schedule. Like, just looking at this, how can you not be excited for quarter 1? Like, we got almost just a lot of great fights lined up. DDP, versus Strickland, obviously. We need to see what happens now. That's a sneaky good card. We got Neil Magny versus Mike Malott on that one. I love Mike Malott. Hidden fact about me, I think he's a great fighter. I think that's another guy we should be excited to see at 170.
Absolutely.
Dominic Reyes also on that card, a veteran coming back, fighting Carlos Ulberg. Mozart Evloev versus Arnold Allen in that card. That one's just it's super exciting. And then we got more announcements for 299. How can you not be excited for that card now too? I didn't have too big of a look into 298, but I can pull that up for everybody. We got Taito Ivasa on that one. We've got Ikram on that one. We got Mirab and Henry Cosciuto on that one. There's a lot to look forward to, and I think Dana, make these things happen, man. We're all here for it. We'll always be watching no matter what, even if they are sinkers like 296. But obviously, things like this get me excited for the year and recording more episodes of the pod with the boys. So I'm looking forward to the year.
Yes, sir. Couldn't agree with you more. Like I mentioned, we're going to try to push out content, cover every event that we can, whether it's myself, whether it's Artie just by himself, whether it's Doc by himself. It'll be a cast of new people. Doc, unfortunately, couldn't be on for this episode. I completely forgot to mention that at the beginning, as he's busy working. But he left one message for the boys, and he said, "I said so" on Menafield. So that one's going to be annoying for a week or so. But I said so on Josh Emmett, so I get to point that back to him. Lastly, before we sign off here, I'm just going to mention that we will be covering UFC 297. Still up in the air if we'll be here for Fight Night for Ankalaev versus Walker. I'd like to be. Hopefully we'll surprise you guys with either a live stream or an episode. But 2024, we're coming. Please, if you could, TheRingBoys on all socials, drop us a follow, like, comment, dislike us if you want. I don't care. Give us some action. We want to grow this channel. We want to turn this into a community. We do this for you guys. We do this for ourselves. This is fun. And Artie, anything else before we sign off here?
Yeah, throw us questions in the comments. I think I say this at the end of every episode. Ask us something you want us to talk about. There's quite a few interesting things in the UFC. But yeah, great year. A lot to look forward to in 2024. You might see me for UFC 300 streaming out of Tokyo, Japan with the boys. But we'll see. There quite a bit going on. I'm excited to cover some of the fight nights as well as, as timing permits, but we'll be here. We'll be here.
I'd love to see you in a Komodo or some Japanese clothing. That'd be awesome for an episode. Also, they've hinted that UFC could be coming into Japan in 2024. Will that happen? Probably not, but we'll see. Lastly, before we sign off, our year in review picks. I did the math, and yes, to all you making jokes, mainly my brother. Yeah, I can do math. Yearly pay-per-view accuracy. We were only able to cover 295 and 296, so that's 24 over all fights. Doc 13 for 24, Artie 10 for 24, myself 18 for 24. So I won the yearly pay-per-view. The yearly fight night accuracy, which is honestly sometimes just guessing from our end, but we do it for fun. We do it for data. We do it for you guys. Doc 29 for 37, myself 30 for 37, Artie 24 for 37, meaning the yearly overall accuracy, Doc 42 for 61, Artie 34 for 61, and myself 48 for 61. So my 3 seconds of fame, I'll say, I told you so. And Artie, we're gonna get some good picks from you coming into the next year. You think you're gonna shake the room and win a couple of these cards here?
No, I'm gonna continue what I'm doing, and I'm gonna continue picking with what I think will happen. I'm not gonna pick the favorite every time, like Mr. Alex over here, but
for the people, by the people.
Yeah, whatever. I don't care. I'm gonna keep picking how I think. I'm picking as a fan of the UFC. I'm not picking to win any of these. So, yeah,
that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. We're doing this. We're not professionals. We're not experts. I've been hot with the betting. That's why we do the betting segment for you guys. We'll always have locks and picks for you pre-show, post-show. Follow us on Twitter for those. Follow us on Instagram, Twitch. Find the link tree in the description below, and it'll lead you to a journey along with UFC and a journey along with the TheRingBoys. But with that, signing off out of Studio Ring. Good eye and goodbye.